Okay, so your problem is that you don't like math. So what happens is you get these huge, ugly things, and they look scary, but it's just like everything else. The way I tackle it is I just break things into parts so that they're a little more understandable. If you can see on this piece of paper, I actually made a mistake, and it's largely in part to not paying attention, so that's also a very important thing to do. So, you have that division sign. I use that as a way to break up the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to say there's one problem going on one side of the division sign, another problem going on the other side. And then we'll meet them up at the end. So we have that 2/3 times the 129 over 30th. So the first thing you want to do in order to multiply those together is turn that 129 over 30th into an improper fraction. So if you don't remember how to do that, you multiply the denominator times the coefficient, and then you add the numerator, and that'll give you 59 over 30th. And then it's just multiply. So if you remember how to multiply fractions, you just multiply the tops and you multiply the bottoms. So 2 times 59, 3 times 30 should come out with 118.90. Double check my math. I'm sloppy. So we know that that's 118 over 90 right now. We're just going to set that aside. We're going to go back to the other side, and we have the 2/5 times 5/8 minus 1/10 squared. So again, let's just take this in parts. 2/5 times 5/8. So let's just multiply the tops. 2 times 5, 10. 5 times 8, 40. So let's just move that down. So we have 10 over 40 now. So what do we do with this 1/10 squared? So we know anything squared just means itself times itself. So let's just kind of move that out and just multiply 1/10 times 1/10. So we know by multiplying fractions, just multiply the tops, just multiply the bottoms. And we get 1 times 1 is 1. 10 times 10 is 100. Alright, so again, I made another mistake. And so I'm just going to fix that, and it's all just sloppy mistakes. So now we have 10 over 40 minus 1 over 100. So we know in order to subtract those, we have to have a common denominator. So I'm thinking the common denominator is 200, just because 40 times 5 is 200. So if you don't know how to do those, again, so we figure the least common multiple is 200. Let's just assume I'm correct on that. I'm going to have to do this right in front of you because I made that previous error. Okay, so the way I think of it is, how many times does 40 go into 200? Well, it's 5 times. So then 5 times 10 is 50. So I end up with 50 200ths. 100 goes into 200 twice. 2 times 1 is 2. I end up with 2 200ths. And then I can just subtract them. So when we're subtracting fractions, we keep the denominator, because that's why we went through all that trouble to make it the same. At this point, you probably can't even read this. So 50 minus 2 is 48. I end up with 48 over 200. Now, since those are even numbers, we can reduce them. So 2 into 48 is 24. 2 into 200 is 100, and they're still even, which is awesome, means we can reduce it even further. So 2 into 24 is 12. 2 into 100 is 50. Still even. We can reduce even further because we want the smallest numbers, so they're easier to work with. 2 into 12 is 6. 2 into 50 is 25. So we're at 6/25, which seems to be as far as we're going to be able to reduce it. And remember, we have that 118 over 90 from the first part of our problem. So now what we've done by doing all that first, by separating everything, is that we have a simpler problem. We now have 118 over 90 divided by 6 over 25. So that's a lot easier to do than looking at all that. So what do we do when we divide fractions? Well, we turn it into a multiplication problem. And the way we do that is we take this second number, and we flip it. So let's go ahead and do that. So now what we have is 118 over 90 times 25 over 6. Now, I don't know if you're at the point where you know how to reduce by the cross products and all that. So we're just going to keep it the same for now. If you do know how to do it because it just makes your numbers simpler. But just knowing on how to multiply fractions, we're just going to multiply the top and multiply the bottom. So we're multiplying 118. And I am cheating, and I am going to use a calculator. 118 times 25. That's 2,950. That's why you want to reduce your cross products when you do this, because then you don't have to deal with ugly numbers. And then multiply the bottom, which is 90 times 6. So that's 540. So you're ending up with 295 over 540. Now both of those end in a 0, so that's really easy reduction. Just kill the zeros. And you end up with 295 over 54. Now I'm going to leave that up to you to see if there's any numbers that evenly go both into those, to see if you can reduce it even further. But you also want to know how your teacher wants it formatted. I personally just leave things in improper fraction. If she wants it in a proper fraction, all a fraction is top number divided by bottom number. So if you divide 295 by 54, you're going to end up with a whole number with the remainder. The remainder just goes over 54, and that's how you come up with your compound fraction there. So I hope this was okay. I hope you could see everything. I hope you also notice that I make mistakes, and that's important. Don't let math scare you. No matter how high up in math you go, it's the simplest mistakes that get made. A lot of it's just not paying attention. I started off thinking this was addition, this multiplication, so pay attention to your signs. But most importantly, because you just want an answer to for your homework, 295 over 54. And like I said, work out if you could reduce that and turn it into an improper fraction. Hope this helped. I'm off to class. Bye.